So here we go. Yeah. Hello. And welcome to another episode of The Hammered Brothers. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jake.
And today we've got some beer, which is exactly what we want to see. We've got a little Sweet Miss from Beaver Island Brewery, or Beaver Island Brewing. It's damn fine beer, which, if you can see, it is dam spelled D-A-M. You know, like a beaver dam. That's clever.
Yes.
Anyway, we wouldn't be the Hammered Brothers without the beer. So that's what our first order of business is going to be. And we've got a topic for the day. Oh, jeez, I'm spilling beer. No!
Wasting beer.
God, I look like such an amateur. Anyway, so, Jake, what's our topic for the day?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things Season 3 just came out on Netflix. What's it been, a month? More?
Yeah,
Less?
something like that. Not very long, just long enough for me to have watched it. And I, admittedly, did not really watch the second season, so I binge-watched the second and third seasons at the same time. For better or for worse.
Yeah, and I did watch the second season when it came out, and I didn't really watch either season particularly quickly.
Yeah.
But
I watched the first season there was so much buzz about the first season. Everybody was pretty high on it.
Yeah, it was being talked about in many places. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have watched it if not for the hype.
Yeah, I'm probably there with you. And, and there was a lot of hype about the music, which I don't quite understand because there's like an intro song and that's about it.
Yeah, it feels like they just use that intro song and they just kind of play it in the background sometimes.
Yeah.
In the actual show.
So
I don't really notice the soundtrack very much, but yeah, the whole aesthetic is really what was. It's probably the best thing about the show in many ways.
Yeah.
How they handle the whole look and feel of everything. It's kind of a timepiece.
Yeah. Timepiece. Step into your time capsule and welcome to the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Which, is fine. Well, before we get any further, I suppose I should just ask you straight out, what did you think of Stranger Things? Let's be even more specific. What, Jake, did you think of Stranger Things 1?
Stranger Things 1 was enjoyable. I liked it, but it was fairly forgettable at the end of the day.
Yeah. I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are unhappy with that assessment, but I'm right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think that it lived up to the hype. I thought it was perfectly acceptable as a standalone deal, as a new intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfectly fine. And at the end of the day, utterly forgettable.
Yeah.
And that might even be kinder than I should be to the franchise.
Maybe. I would say that the second and third seasons may have marred the first one for me. And that's probably the only reason I would agree with that. It made Stranger Things 1 look worse in hindsight.
Yeah, and I knew that was going to be the case when they decided to leave the first season open-ended. It's a show that was begging for to just end, just have an ending.
Yeah, I guess I thought that the way the first season ended, they could have left it there pretty easily. They left you with that little taste that everything's not just over, and that L or 11 is still out there, and that's all you needed.
Yeah.
They could have easily just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, that was more than you needed. I would have been satisfied if she had actually died. I'm a fan of when that happens in shows, I have to admit, and movies. I like it when they kill characters off. I think that is a good thing. And, of course, that's not the way that the showrunners wanted to have this show come about.
Of course not.
So I did not go back and watch the first season of Stranger Things.
Nor did I. I've only seen it all the way through once.
Me too. And I jumped right into the second season. And, yeah, immediately was turned off by the second season within the first minutes of the first episode of the second season.
Didn't the second season start with the weird, like, other people you'd never met before in the city?
Right.
That's right. And then they didn't revisit that till, like, the 7th episode or something ridiculous.
And it made no difference to anything at all when they did reintroduce them.
What a way to start the second season.
Yeah. Let's introduce a bunch of characters that have no bearing or no meaning on anything. What a great idea.
And by the end of the season, they still won't.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and yeah. And they thought maybe, I mean, she went on this whole quest, this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what came out of that? Oh, I need to go home, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was her arc, I guess, is she thought she needed to get away, and it turns out that, no, that's her home now. So she has to go back.
Yeah. I suppose that would qualify as spoilers. So, we're going to be all over the place talking about this. So
Yeah.
I think we'll just say spoilers abound. I'll probably have to put that right into the title.
Yeah, if you want my 2 cents, watch the first season if you're interested, and then just stop.
Yeah. The second and third seasons both are essentially more of the same, except not even
worse.
as good.
More of the same with a few more characters who don't matter thrown in, and everything's just a
jeez.
little bit worse.
Yeah. So let's get right into this stuff or should we try to be kind first and say what the things, it's going to be a short list of the things that we did like about Stranger Things 1, 2, and 3, because they're all going to apply. My guess is that they're all going to apply to all 3, and then we'll get into all of the problems.
Sure. What did you like most about the series?
I liked the cop character. Just his character, at least generally speaking. I thought that he was the voice of reason for the most part. He was a little less stupid than your average, horror movie character person. Although I have some pretty strong problems with him later.
Yeah, I was going to say, I also liked his character quite a bit in the first season. I can't remember anything about what he did in the second season, honestly. And I actually disliked him quite a bit in the third season, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that sounds right. The aesthetic, I mean, we talked about the aesthetic. The aesthetic is pretty good. They did a good job.
The strongest thing of the whole series.
Yeah.
I liked the monster design in I think all 3 seasons, I would say.
Yeah. That was both one of the strong points and one of the low points for me.
Yeah, in the
Admittedly.
second season, I really disliked the demo dogs. I thought they were super dumb.
Demi dogs.
But the primary villain was interesting in concept, although his bearing on the story was not good. So yeah, good and bad at the same time for sure in the second and third season. In the first season, the demon thing did not really matter. It was just kind of a backdrop.
Yeah. They didn't give you much information to go on, which was fine. And then it becomes less fine that they don't give you anything about it in the second and third season. As time goes by, it's like, okay, you got to start telling us what the hell is actually going on.
Yeah, because in the first season, it was more of just it's just this thing that's out there. It's just there to be scary and mysterious, and that's part of what keeps it scary. But in the second and third season, they were making it pretty clear that this thing has some kind of goal in mind. But at no point do you ever find out what that goal actually is.
Yeah. So is that the end of the list already? Because I'm having a hard time.
we're already ragging on it. It's the problem. So I guess if I was going to pick other things, I really enjoyed the dynamic between the kids.
Yes, that's right.
I think in all 3 seasons, really.
Yeah.
The youngest kids, that is.
Yeah. Yes.
The teenagers, the high schoolers, I find less interesting.
Yeah.
Considerably less.
Completely uninteresting.
They don't seem to contribute much in any of the seasons.
No. Yeah, so I guess that's the end of the list. So those are the good points. It's perfectly acceptable television, and if you're into perfectly acceptable television because you have nothing better to do,
Mm-hmm.
then this is perfectly acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jake, what
Yeah.
did you not like about Stranger Things? It's going to be hard to be specific, but we can start with season 1, and we'll go from there.
It is hard to be specific. I don't
Yeah.
remember season 1 that well.
I think that's inherently one of the problems with the show.
Mm-hmm. So I would say season 1 was extremely character driven. You've got this group of characters who you're kind of rooting for, and you learn about them and everything. It has no strong antagonist in any form. You've got the demon thing running around abducting people, and you've got the government-run facility of evil government people, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody really sticks out as being particularly interesting on the opposition side of things. And I think that's where the first season struggled the most. And that just compounded in the second and third seasons, I would say.
Yeah. So the creature design in the first season, they did a good job, and they were able to cover it up with a lot of pretty, I would say, average special effects. You know, the special effects in the Upside Down are
Yeah, I thought the Upside Down looked kind of neat, but yeah, you could tell it was
so
just a cheap
stylized.
effect.
Yeah, it was like a filter on your camera. I don't know. Yeah, it felt like a cheap effect. It was, but a really good cheap effect.
Yeah, high quality cheap effect.
Yeah, I mean, like the fake ash or whatever that was floating
Always
around in
floating
the
around.
air and
Yep.
all that. And,
Yeah, that feels like something that could be like a Snapchat filter, honestly.
Yeah. So apologies to the person out there who put that filter together. I'm sure it was a lot of work.
I'm sure it was.
And now it's just getting overused.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure it was a lot of work to make, but yeah, now it just seems obvious that it's just a filter that anyone could just point at anything or put on any video footage they wanted to, and I don't know, it doesn't look real.
Yeah. And it gives it. You immediately know what's going on in the context of what's going on. So that's, I guess, a good thing from a storytelling standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
In the first season, Winona Ryder's character is playing the heck out of that character. She is way overacting, and it gets distracting, I would say.
Yeah, I
And-
wonder if I mean, I don't see her much in other places, but it's like her eyes are open as wide as they can be in every scene. Every scene.
Yeah, it's dare I make a Star Trek reference? It's like Gowron, the Klingon, and he did the Gowron eyes. Yes. Anyway, sorry.
All right.
You are not a Star Trek person.
Not really, no.
Makes me sad.
I don't know. who
Star Trek: The
Gowron
Next
is.
Generation is great.
I've seen a
Granted,
lot of it.
Gowron is also in Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, which is less great. All of you DS9 lovers out there, The Next Generation is far superior. We're aiming to piss off everybody in this video, by the way.
That's the
And,
idea.
yeah, we're gonna. That's our goal. Is just to make people angry.
Well, the thing is, I think there is a lot of people are not that happy with later Stranger Things.
Yeah. So because there's just, I just don't think there's that much to talk about in the first season. The
There's
kids are
not.
great. You know, the locations are fine. The set pieces are fine. The villain is fine. The monster is fine. It's all fine. Everything
fine.
is super light on details, and I guess that's fine. It's, we don't, that's the day and age that we're living in now. Nobody wants to give you any details. There's no rules to the world. There's no rules for the monster. Where'd the monster come from? Nobody knows. It's just a thing.
So the climax felt a little anticlimactic to me. If I'm going to rag on something again,
Yeah.
I didn't think much of the climax, mostly because, and this was a major problem in season 2 as well. The whole thing was just wrapped up by 11, just taking care of the monster.
Yeah.
No one else needed to do anything, and
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's like they tried to give everyone their little moment, but at the end of the day, nothing anyone else did mattered at all.
Yeah. Let's talk about character development in this show. Was there any?
Yeah, well, 11 again, I guess.
Was there?
She's
Was
the
she?
only
Did
one
she?
who...
I guess she kind of became confident. Sort of.
Confident? I don't know. She's the only one who's going through stuff
Yeah.
where she had to, like, reintegrate into society, which has kind of been her thing in all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That slowly changing thing. But
Yeah.
no, other than her, I don't feel like... I guess Steve, maybe?
Steve. Which one is Steve?
He's
This
the
is my problem.
he's the douchebag boyfriend
The
who's been in all 3 seasons.
the preppy one, or not preppy, the jock,
Preppy-ish
I
one?
guess.
Yeah, he was like the cool jock guy in the
who
first
was the
season.
butt of all the jokes in the last season.
Yeah.
Because he was such a jackass, apparently.
Apparently.
Even though he is a completely stand-up guy, and they make kind of go out of their way to show that he's not, that
Right.
there's more to him than you would expect from the typical jock type person.
It's kind of funny because that was kind of his arc, I guess, which he went from the cool jock to kind of embracing just being a nice guy,
Yeah.
and yet
And that got him nothing.
no, it gets him to be the butt of all the jokes,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
an interesting commentary on
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
men, I guess.
I think maybe that is right. Maybe that's right.
So I
Could
guess
be.
you should just keep being the hyper masculine jock, and so you can stay the cool guy.
Yeah.
It seems
I
backwards
guess.
somehow.
Yeah,
for
there's
what-
the message is off.
it's
there
off.
somehow.
Something's wrong there. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
probably reading too much into it, but if you're looking
yeah.
for meaning in his arc, it seems to be the wrong message that they're getting across.
Well, I think there's a couple of seasons upcoming, or is the next season the last season? Please say yes.
I don't know. I know they're planning at least one more, maybe 2. That's all I've
geez.
heard.
No.
Nothing.
Maybe he'll
official.
have a redemption arc. Who knows?
Maybe.
So anyway, and then there's the chicky chick who needs to eat a good meal. Maybe a couple of them even.
maybe several times a day for a while.
Yeah, she's
She needs calories.
She looks like she's a tiny
or
human.
she needs to shit out that tapeworm. Or
whatever it is.
Something.
Yeah, no, that was her. Wait, not her brother. It was anyway.
Yeah, her brother's the one who... No, her brother's just one of the kids.
Her brother's one of the kids. That's right. So yeah, and she had I'm trying to remember that the beginning of the season of everything, she was
she's
like this.
kind of nerdy.
Yeah.
And then she becomes one of the cool kids because
Yeah,
Steve is interested in her.
And what was that all about? Like, oh, geez, there was a big thing about her, losing her virginity and all that kind of stuff. And she's
that's
like,
right.
I'm just going to go sleep
Kinda
with this
forgot
guy
all
anyway.
about that.
And this thing is all over the place on message. I just don't,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Because oddly enough, and this goes all the way into the 3rd season, what I actually thought was really interesting and not what would have been expected was and I don't even know, I so don't remember the show because it's just not worth remembering, but like the douchebag guy from California whose mom and dad split up or whatever.
Oh, yep.
And, he is like putting the moves on what's-her-face's mom, and she's kind of into it, and it's kind of
Yep.
weird and creepy, and then
Yep,
they're
she
like...
ends up not going through with
And
it.
she, exactly, and I thought, and the way that they put that out there, I thought was really nice. I was really impressed. Like she's all getting dolled up, and she's in this marriage that is just kind of boring and all that kind of stuff. And then she walks down the stairs. She's all dolled up, ready to go out for a good time with the young stud. And she takes a look at her husband, and her daughter is sitting on her husband's lap. They're asleep, and she kind of realizes that, this is maybe a boring marriage, but these are good people that I love and care about, and that's a good message.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. And you just don't see that anywhere. And anyway, so that's a tangent, I guess, for myself.
That was a
but,
good little thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, it got kind of weird, but it was fine.
Yeah,
I
and then
appreciated what happened there.
I
So.
disliked. I think they kind of undercut it later because they were all at the fair together, and I forget what the husband says. Something, and she just like rolls her eyes at him, and it's like
Yeah.
it would have been nice to see her kind of like re-embrace her marriage after that.
Right. Imagine that. They could have gone one step farther to show that, oh my gosh, maybe
and-
maybe it's not just a one-sided problem here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Instead, they were going to make it seem like it's just going to be an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
that
now-
she'll just struggle with forever, I guess.
I guess she's just going to suffer through with that dick of a husband of hers, or this boring, apparently quite successful man.
Right.
Because aren't they like fairly well-to-do? That
Yeah.
was one of the issues
That's
later.
one of the issues in the third season, I believe.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
her boyfriend calling her out for never having any struggles in her life.
Yeah.
So,
Which is not a message that I particularly disagree with, but it felt a little ham-handed and all that. I don't know. It was fine.
It was fine because she did throw him under the bus without thinking about what that would mean for him.
Yes,
losing
yeah,
a job versus her losing a job. So,
Yeah.
so I thought that part of it made sense.
Yeah, time and place felt weird for that conversation to happen. It's like the show's trying to have deeper conversations, but they're doing it around this like 80s version action horror kind of shtick, and it just feels weird.
You know, they're trying with a lot of things. A lot of it's missing, but
Yeah.
I don't necessarily begrudge them the
No,
attempts.
they're trying. They're doing what they can. So that's fine. Anyway, so season two. What can we say about season two? The
Season
kids,
2 was more forgettable than season 1.
Yeah, the band is back together. And the villain is less villainy.
Less villainy because he's not in the real world at all.
Yeah.
He just sends little dog things into the real world. He's like making some weird network underground.
And it's killing the damn pumpkins.
That's right. It's killing the pumpkins.
Those bastards.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, just what was the monster's goal?
I don't know.
Kill
There is
all
no
life
goal.
in that area? To make its way into the real world itself?
I don't know.
The world it's in is just as real as the real world, I suppose.
Yeah.
What does it want with our world? What would it gain?
Yeah,
And
there's-
all of these things, we just have no idea. We are
No
never given
explanations. No.
any indication.
What is its motivation? We just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can work sometimes. I would say, again, in season 1, it pretty much does work. But you can't keep doing that after a certain point.
Yeah. And they try to have some character moments, and what's her face and what's his face break up because the brother of the other kid is apparently something. I don't know. She wants to bang him.
She wants to bang him. That's, yeah, I
guess.
that was obvious by the end of the first season.
It was, which is weird. It just is weird. Just, it's frustrating. This show is all over the place. It can't decide what it's trying to do. Can't decide who are the heroes, and maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point. Maybe they're trying to show that nobody, everything's messy. But again, it feels like you've got this straightforward monster flick, this horror flick that you feel like there are archetypes at play and some stereotypes at play there. And then it's trying to have these deeper conversations, but it's got this veneer of this, I don't know, it doesn't quite work for me.
Yeah.
I don't quite know why. The special effects certainly didn't improve in the second season.
No, I wouldn't say so.
The demi-dog, I thought, was pretty rough.
Yeah. So apparently everyone loves the kid who was missing his 2 front teeth.
He's fine.
I honestly kind of hated him in the second season.
Yeah, he was a dick in the second season.
Well, he like adopts the little demo dog and keeps that from everyone when it's very obvious that it's just an infant
Yeah.
of the monster they fought in the first season.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupidly obvious.
Yeah.
They basically discuss this with each other, if I remember right. So it's obvious that's what that is, but he's just going to keep it as a pet?
Yeah.
It's just so stupid. I
jeez.
couldn't take it.
And the way that it's growing super fast and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
all that growing super
Doesn't it,
fast
like,
stuff is
eat
dumb.
one of his pets or something?
Yeah, the cat or something.
I don't remember, but
I would think that'd be a red flag.
yeah, it's like, okay, you're going to care about this thing kind of as a pet, but not care when it eats your other pet that you should also care about in an equal fashion?
Yeah. And they try to make it up like, oh, I found this new species of whatever. I'm going to take it to my teacher. Blah, 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 blah. What?
Yeah, no.
What?
So
I did okay, so in the second season, I thought the strongest part of the entire second season was Samwise Gamgee in there. He was
yep.
awesome.
that character was
I forget
great.
I can't remember the actor's name. I'm sorry. You're awesome. You're a great actor.
He's great.
He is great, and you are legitimately great. You carry that season. Your character is just this upright, the upstanding, really a great guy in every respect, trying to do the right thing every step of the way, and gets
that guy was
totally
awesome.
fucked at the end.
Oh, yeah. That was heartbreaking.
It's like we introduced this character. He's great in every possible. He was this underdog all his entire life, and he
He's finally doing it.
he doesn't even want to be the hero. That's what makes it so great. But he has to because he cares so much about the people around him. So he does it anyway. And then he gets fucked.
Yep.
Not the good kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
That was rough. That was, gave me some feels.
Yeah, that was easily the most emotional moment of all 3 seasons thus far.
Mm-hmm. They tried to do the same thing in the third season.
You're going to have to explain to me where, because I didn't have any feels.
With the Russian guy who they, adopted. They were definitely trying for the same kind of thing, but he was not endearing to me in any fashion.
No, I mean, I thought that sucked for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I felt for the guy. Like he's just a scientist, and he's been forced into this military thing, and he's given an ultimatum to either make this work or else he's gonna die, like the other guy who got killed before him.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's a shitty situation, but he wasn't endearing as a character beyond his situation being shitty. So
yeah. There was I could see what you're trying to do
I
there.
mean,
Wasn't enough of a character.
It's the same thing where they brought a character in just for that season, only to kill him off before the end, and in an attempt to get an emotional reaction from the audience. That's all I mean.
It wasn't very.
It was just handled way worse.
Yeah.
But obviously you couldn't do the exact same thing. But that's when you do something else entirely, like actually kill off one of the characters who's been there the whole time, which they pretended to do with Hopper, but was so stupidly handled that it's like, if anyone actually thinks he's gone, you're an idiot. Yeah. You're an idiot.
There was no body, so I'm guessing he's coming back. Anyway, so in the season 2, they introduce a couple of other characters. The redheaded chicky chick little girl.
And the brother.
Who cares? Max?
Her brother.
Was it Max? That's right.
Max
and her brother.
And her brother.
Yeah.
Which, by the end of that season, it's like, why are these characters here? I know they kept them going in the next one, and at least the brother ended up being important-ish.
Yeah, which is fine.
I mean, it's nice that there was a character there already rather than just having some random person take that role.
Yeah.
And having the connection with Max since she's now part of the group.
Yeah.
But her character serves no purpose, really.
Yeah. So let's talk about... So Hopper in second season is just like this angry guy, and he's got Elle cooped up, and they've built booby traps around the house and all that, and it's not super clear as to why, except he's worried that the government people, the institute guys, are going to come after her or something. And basically she just sits there for the first half of the season, maybe more.
That sounds right. She's just stuck
Doesn't
in
do
that house,
anything.
stuck in that shack.
Yeah. But there's so many character moments, but they were terrible character moments. There was no growth there.
No.
And Yeah, that's so that was a problem for me, and it went on and on and on. It reminded me of Harry Potter camping, Harry Potter 7, now with more camping. Yeah, we just don't need that much of that. It's not doing anything. There are no deeper character moments.
Nope.
You've got too big of a cast of characters to have like this claustrophobic character thing where they're bouncing off the wall with each other and stuff like that. There just wasn't any of that because you had this huge ensemble cast. So you're not spending any time like with these two getting claustrophobic and really feeling much of anything. So that didn't work.
Yeah, I honestly I don't remember any of their stuff from that season other than that he at one point 11 just leaves. That's all I remember.
Yeah. Oh, and does she leave? Oh my god. And then she goes and she meets up with the ragtag team of others, I guess.
Others,
The
but
one-
only
the
one
only
of them is actually like from the institute or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the one. Like, why are the rest of them even a part of that group? What's their motivation for being there and for
because
going
they're-
after these people who were abusing them at the
Because they're a bunch of punks
Facility.
who are going up against the man.
yeah?
You know?
But-
Damn you, Reagan. We don't like you.
But like the other girl who has the ability to put like illusions in people's
Yeah,
minds.
it's
that's
not
her
even
thing?
real. It's just
Yeah.
she can alter people, what they're seeing, even
Like,
though it doesn't alter anything.
Was
for real.
she even the leader of that group?
I think so.
Was she? Okay, again, I just don't remember.
Because
really.
the only thing, she was just out there to get revenge. She
Yeah.
was just, let's go kill this guy. Let's go kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go kill this guy. Great. That's a great idea. Let's let's go around murdering people. Now, we can debate whether or not these people deserved it,
Yeah,
but murder is a pretty big charge.
it's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty big moral quandary. I'm not sure I agree that she was justified in doing that. At
Maybe
least,
not in every case. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I can understand that motivation, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't, to handle it with kid gloves like that, like, oh, this is no big deal. We're just going to go murder people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about all that. But I'm trying to remember, did she actually meet her mom, Elle? Was that her mom that was like in the comatose kind of vegetative kind of whatever?
I think so. I don't remember.
A little bit nebulous there.
Yeah, I don't recall.
So that was a thing, I guess. That was a thing that...
I know she found some sort of closure there, and that's why she went back.
Yeah, I guess that's... I don't know.
But I don't remember if she
Strange,
actually
very
met her
strange.
mom or whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah, so that was rough. I'm getting tired of talking about season 2, I have to admit.
Season 2, it didn't stick with me. At the end of the day, 11, who basically did nothing for the whole season except in that one episode where she left and met these people, and it was terrible. It was the worst episode of the season by far. Then she just goes back and fixes everybody's problems.
Mm-hmm.
She goes back and she closes the portal by herself. Again, no one else was necessary to resolve the problem going on in the town.
Yeah.
Just 11.
Yeah.
Just her.
Yeah.
That's
Jeez.
a problem.
That's
a problem with the structure of your story when no one else
Matters.
It matters.
They don't matter at all.
They're not needed.
Yeah. Now, that does change a little in the third season.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about the third season. So the third season starts off with, I don't even know. I can't even remember. It all
The
blurs
start of
together.
it? Yeah, I have no idea what happened.
Was it
at
in the first
beginning.
episode for third season where what's his face, the douchebag boy, gets abducted and
He gets
penetrated by
penetrated by the
by the rat thing?
yeah, the thing that's made out of rat corpses.
Yeah. So I just gotta say, what is up with the tone of this show? So this is a show that looks to me like it's trying to be a 1980s era Steven Spielberg like Goonies flick that should fall into something that kids aged like 11 to 15 would really be into.
Oh, yeah.
But this show, I'm not sure that 11-year-olds should be watching this show.
No,
This
they
is
definitely shouldn't.
I mean, it's never like really horrifically graphic.
Not quite.
Somehow they kind of are able to skirt around, but like the exploding rats and the like
Yeah.
gelatinous goo monsters.
Because I
and-
just remembered how the season started. It was with the Russians trying to open the portal and then it failing. But when it fails, all of the people
Spectacularly fails.
around it get like
they
they get
disintegrate
burnt up
or-
and
Yeah.
messed up, and they show it.
Yeah.
They show it, and it is pretty horrific.
It's
It's
not.
extremely graphic without being overly bloody.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of disfigurement going on.
Yeah, it's not. It's just a little intense for kids that
Yeah,
I feel like
I-
the show is being aimed at.
I'd be uncomfortable with anyone under 13 watching it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that. That's very strange. It's a very weird feel because then there are other parts which turns into a musical. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a thing that happens, and it's something that I could see a lot of kids really enjoying, except nobody's going to know what the never-ending story is unless you're
Right.
old enough.
Yeah.
So-
But there again, it's that problem where I do think you should be able to have a show with young kids and not have to make it a
That's
PG
true.
show.
Yes.
You should be able to have a show that stars young kids and have it be made for adults. That should be a thing that is possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does feel like big sections of the show are almost aimed at a younger audience.
Yeah. Some of the humor in it is a little on the juvenile side, which admittedly the characters are kids, so what
Yeah.
would you expect? That's what's going to happen. So in the third season, then we're introduced to yet another character at the Anchors Away ice cream shop in the form of our everyone's favorite lesbian.
June?
I don't know. I
What was
can't
her
remember the name?
Robin.
Robin. All right.
I think it's
don't
Robin.
care. And it's just, and the reason I have to mention, after everybody's favorite lesbian, because it comes out of nowhere.
It does.
It comes out of nowhere. In fact, it actively goes against what was being alluded to earlier in the season, because there's like a moment where there's like an explosion or something, and what's his face and what's her face are there, and they're like ends up holding hands afterward, and you're like, they're totally gonna get together. Ha ha ha. Oh, by the way, I'm a lesbian. Oh,
Yeah, it did seem like
very strange.
she was sending pretty mixed messages.
Yeah, you could say that.
Really
Yeah.
mixed messages. So
Yeah. So it just felt very strange. Like they just had to pull this out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And I just dislike when shows generally do that. I think it's sloppy writing. It's like, what was the purpose of the foreshadowing? If the foreshadowing didn't actually mean anything, was it intentional misdirection? I don't.
yeah,
I don't get it.
that's the problem with it. Like, if you're going to do that, you got to have the things that happen earlier. You got to be able to see them in a different light, which would make them fit the twist.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with what they had done.
Yeah.
They had
Game
given
of Thrones. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, they'd given absolutely no indication that that's what was actually going on.
Yeah.
I don't really have an issue with the twist other
No.
than that aspect of it.
It's just that, again, it was handled so weird and so poorly.
Yeah, it just
just
really felt
Bam!
like it came out of nowhere.
There it was.
And that
Okay.
it was contradicted by previous things that had happened.
Yeah,
that's a
it's
problem.
so weird. And then the other kid's sister was now part of their group, and so here's another problem with season 3. If you're hearing me, so now all of a sudden you've got like one set of kids doing one thing, right? They're investigating the Russian. Now don't get me wrong, I love Russians. And when I say that, I love Russian villains in TV. I like Russian allies in TV. I think Russians are fucking cool, man. And Russians make everything better. They are the most, in the words of Joe Rogan, they're the most badass white people. And it's true. So, so Russians make everything better. But, it's the way, and actually there was one throwaway line in there, like, how come there's no stairs to get back up the elevator? Well, they're Russians. They're not like the U.S. government that's going to have 3 safeties behind everything. And I'm like, ha, that's very true. I like it. Ha. It's also probably a way they were able to get away with cheaper sets. Just saying. Anyway, so that issue aside, Russians. I forgot where was I going before that. I'm all
No
over
idea.
I'm just as bad as the show. We're all over the place.
So they're
Oh, that's right. We're all of the different fragmented groups.
yeah, I guess.
So, and it reminds me of the Red Letter Media guy's explanation of the end when George Lucas and his team watched the end of or watched the final cut of episode 1, and they're like, everyone's just there, like sitting there in silence, like, oh, there's too many things going on. This is terrible. What the hell's going on? Yeah, and it's true. They had Hopper and what's her face, the mom, and the Russian guy and the bearded guy, the comic relief guy, whatever. Then you had what's her face, and the sister. So that's 2 groups. And then you had a couple. The kids were now fragmented into. You had, what was Eld even doing the whole time? I don't even remember, man.
So Elle and Max were kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But mostly those 2 just hung out with 3 of the boys from the main group, and then you had Steve, the new girl who was a lesbian, and the other main kid.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He was with them. Well, he sort of was with them.
And then the sister of one of the other kids.
Yeah. Her and
she gets added in, and she's probably the worst addition to the third season.
Yeah. She had a couple of zingers in there that were kind of amusing, but overall, what a horribly annoying character.
Yeah. Mostly just annoying.
Yeah. And then you had the girl who needs to eat a good meal, and her boyfriend guy, the brother of what's his face, and they were doing their thing with the journalists.
Yeah.
And then there was the brother, Max's brother.
Yeah.
And he was doing all the evil stuff.
Team Evil.
How many groups are we? Oh, that's 5 groups at least, isn't it? And maybe that was more groups. I don't even know. It's so many people to keep track of.
I think it was really just 4.
It was too many.
Or was it 5?
I don't know. 5 too many.
I don't know.
Yeah, just too much. It was just too much.
That'd be 5.
It was just too much. Simple as that. Just too much. It's too much. So, too much going on. Needed to be simplified. Needed to be able to spend some, quality time with each character. That's what we were all looking for, was a little quality time with each character. And we just didn't get it. No, just didn't happen. And this goes beyond the actual story itself, which is just the same story.
Yeah, it's like a mystery of figure out what the supernatural villain's doing and also what the Russians are doing.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Which is, why are the Russians trying to open the portal?
Yeah, what do they stand to gain, I wonder? What do they even think they could gain? We're not told.
No, we're not told.
And yet they're going to their facility bothered me.
So
are you
extensive.
serious?
So extensive.
Why make it so ridiculously massive?
Yeah.
That just took me right out of it. Like, no one...
And how far underground was it supposed to be?
Apparently like miles from the way they made it seem. Yeah. So that was just absolutely ridiculous, their facility. I could not take anything seriously once they showed the scope of that. That was upsetting.
Yeah, it was just too much. It was just too much. And the monster. I actually liked the monster design. I
liked the monster in the 3rd season far better than the 2nd season, that's for sure.
It was a little on the overpowered side.
A little bit.
But I guess that's the point, I guess. And then, all of the crazy colors in the mall and the fireworks when they're shooting fireworks at it and all that kind of stuff.
A little dumb.
Yeah, it's just so much stuff going on. It was shock and awe and spectacle, and it just felt light on substance.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't work for me.
Yeah. No.
And apparently Elle has no powers except that she'll obviously have powers again in the next season.
That she's obviously going to get them
And
back.
they killed Hopper, except they're obviously going to bring
He's
Hopper back
obviously
in the
not
next
dead.
season. So at some point, you just have to wonder, what did they really gain from making a second and third season? I don't quite understand what they gained. They spent a bunch of
Nothing.
money on
Spent
making a
bunch of
second
money.
and third season.
I'm sure they're still making a profit off of it based on views they're getting. So
I don't know. I don't know how it works. Netflix is not super clear on how they make money from stuff.
no, they're not.
So at the end of the day, if we're going to try to, I mean, we could talk about all of the myriad issues. Oh, and so why were the people eating fertilizer and drinking Clorox?
Not explained.
That's right. It wasn't explained. Weird. Yeah. So we're just going to throw that in there because it's creepy,
I
I guess.
I mean, yeah. Why
So
not?
so we'll throw that in there. That's a fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just there's so many things like that.
Yeah.
So many things like that. Oh, and all the melting people. That goes back to the like
Creature
when
design?
the creature design.
guess.
But yeah, with the I wouldn't want a 10-year-old
Oh no.
to
Yeah,
watch the people.
That was horrifying. It was great.
It was.
I liked that.
Yeah.
See, when I first talked to you saying that I thought they had improved things with season 3, which technically they did. Season 3 was still better than
so
season
much
2.
better than season 2.
But when I told you that, I was still in the middle of it where they had basically the monster taking over the bodies of people in the town,
Yeah.
which meant that they could actually talk and maybe convey what the hell the monster's doing.
Right.
But they squandered that opportunity, of course.
No, we can't possibly tell you why.
But I was
we
like,
want
oh, this is really interesting with the melting people and
Yeah.
the messed up monster. This is all great.
Yeah.
And I thought they were gonna go somewhere with it, and they didn't.
They just
really didn't.
Yeah. I think my biggest gripe with all 3 seasons is that they felt like they could have were there 8 or 10 episodes per season, something like that?
There might have been one. I feel like the first one was 8. The next one was they
something
might
like
have all been 8.
Yeah.
8 or 10.
It felt like they could have done every bit as much in half the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that there were a lot of moments that either didn't need to be there or didn't add anything.
Yeah.
Now, Jake and I have read... wait, did you read The Stand?
I have not.
Stephen King? All right. But you have been all the way through The Dark Tower.
Yep.
Now, there is another one where how many thousands of pages he put together of very well written but completely irrelevant material for the most part. And it just, you could have told the same story with so many fewer words, and you would have been better off for it.
Yeah.
Just like both of the last couple Avengers movies. Like, chop out a good 20, 30, 40 minutes of the action that is just redundant.
A lot of it.
Oh, just stop already. I don't need to watch a bunch of CG characters beat the crap out of each other because there's no weight behind it. It doesn't mean anything. Anyway, we're getting off track. So, I'm tired of talking about Stranger Things. I think
Me
I'm
too.
done with Stranger Things. Maybe we'll talk about Stranger Things when that 4th season comes out.
Maybe. I will
Maybe.
I will probably watch the next season because I'm this far in,
Yeah.
and it's honestly still better than most things out there. And that's the really sad part.
That is the sad part. That's basically where we ended up with Game of Thrones after the 4th season. We're like, well, I guess we're going to have to finish this off.
Better than most things.
Yeah. It's better than most things.
Mm-hmm.
Which, sadly, is a pretty low bar
Yeah.
these days. So, Jake, at the end of the day, would you recommend Stranger Things?
Yeah, I said it earlier. I'll say it again. If you have a passing interest in it, watch the first season and then stop. If you got a lot of time on your hands, I guess watch it because it's, again, better than most things.
Yeah, it is better than most things. I'm not even sure I would go so far as to recommend the first season unless you just are really pressed for things to watch.
Yeah. Well, when I say a passing interest, I mean if it's a genre mishmash of things that interest you, then yeah, give it a shot. If you're not interested in 80s nostalgia or sci-fi or horror, then
or slow-moving
obviously
horror,
then skip it, obviously.
yeah, that's where I'm going to land on it as well. I guess I would have a hard time not recommending it because it is so much better than so much other stuff out there. But again, that is such a low bar that is just not saying much. So with that, I guess we're going to call that a night. Sorry that we were all over the place, but that damn show is all over the place, so
really
lighten up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, in that case, cheers. I've got
Took care of that.
that much beer left.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, good night or good morning or good afternoon, whatever suits you, and we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.